Now tell me y'all ain't mad. Without telling me y'all ain't mad. Like Bam Adebayo scores 83 points, and like the internet does, except for now, we actually got real people that's actually talking about how much is a shame, it's a travesty, it's unethical, this is horrible, this is not the basketball I grew up with, this is unethical, we can't do this. Where's the shame for the game and all this other stuff? And I'm like, where are y'all out here coming from now? Like, like where have y'all been at on something? Don't get me wrong. You got some of these people, in some of these demographics or whatever of the, like the threes are ruining the game. Why don't watch anymore? I was like, they're getting paid too much money and why I don't watch anymore. I was like, this ain't the ball I used to grow up with. Still ain't. I was like, that ain't my top player and all these things. And, that's on that, now they all coming together like Voltron to come and attack Bam Adebayo as if getting 83 points isn't a damn like feat in of itself that he like like he basically was still able to get up shots and score and do all these things. And to be honest, look, y'all really just mad that he just beat Kobe, and not that he just beat Kobe, but I think also that if he would have got to say 88 or something like that, I think that people would have felt some of the non-Kobe people would have felt good about it. The Kobe people would have still been mad, but I think that now it's just sort of all hitting at once because it's like you just wanted to pass Kobe and then take him out, kind of thing. To where it's like you might as well just leave him in at that point. Which I believe that he should have just went ahead and kept on scoring to see how high you're going to get it. We're going to run it up. Now, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care about any of that stuff. I'm just like, yo, he scored 83. And on one hand, will it be remembered? Yes and no. Like, it'll be remembered because now we all sort of have now with the internet especially because when you will search this in 10 years it'll be like Bam has the second highest scoring game, albeit to some criticisms and some asterisks and all this other stuff, so that will be there. The AI is going to make sure that you also know that as well, as much as all the people that's going to write about it, which is why I think a lot of people have to, you either on one side, like most people are either like forget everything that everybody is saying. It's a great accomplishment, or how dare you? This is a travesty. Um, but as far as it being like I'm like the free throw thing, I was like, look, people complain. I was like, hell, we got a whole thing with SGA and doing free throw, and I'm like, that would even that of like phantom like free throw or nothing like that. You could say that they were intentionally fouling. It's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, just no different than anybody else trying to get their boy stats or whatever like that. Well, let's not act like this isn't a thing where it's like, oh, make sure that so and so get the extra rebound so they get a triple double or whatever like that. Like that happens all the time. It just never at this it just that this is so blatant. Everybody got like all the eyes on it and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm like, he still is drawing fouls. He still is running into the person. It's not like he's over here shooting countless threes or whatever or whatnot. I was like, hell, I mean, to be honest, this is always going to be controversial because like people had a whole problem with Devin Booker when he was scored over like 70. But you'd be surprised at how many, because it's also Bam. I think if it was also like Ant, people would be like, oh, okay. Wimby, of course, it'd be fine. Jokic, I was like, I think some people will be fine over that. Luka, because he's a scoring machine. I was like, LeBron would get a lot of hate, so that wouldn't even really matter. I even think I was like somebody like LaMelo would probably fit more in the Devin Booker range of just being like, if nobody really watched it and he was just going crazy scoring, people would just be like, oh, whatever, he can't, like, type of win player that can't win or whatever. But I was like, so this is the thing with the unethical part. If you have a problem with this, then you should also be the person that had a problem with someone dunking at the end of the game when they're up, or someone that's just like, it's like, oh, 5 seconds left, they made a steal, they went to go dunk it or whatever like that, showboating or whatever you want to say. You need to have a problem with that as well too. If like, cause like, but guess what? Guess what people would say about that? And guess what your favorite player, Kobe, would say? If you don't want him to score that many points, why don't you stop him? And guess what? The Wizards couldn't stop them. I was like, the Wizards couldn't do nothing about it. They were triple teaming or whatever you want to say. You want to say they like the whole fouling thing? Guess what? Still didn't stop them or none of that. What they you knew where the ball was going to go at this point. You knew Bam was going to get the ball. Nothing can be said. And you want to say it's against the Wizards, like that Toronto team that Kobe played against wasn't trash. Now you could say that they were down. He had to do all that. And it's like, first of all, I was like, he didn't have to do any of that. But guess what? As Kobe did, and as Kobe was at that, I was like, especially during like that high point of time, he took it upon himself. And everybody has like, like, look, yeah, that's right. You take it upon yourself because you can't trust all these other people. Some other people call that a little self. But guess what? He came back, which, by the way, why were they down so big for him to have to do all this anyway? I was like, against a sorry Toronto team at the time. Tell me who their best player was. Mort Peterson. I was like, Jalen Rose. Who you want to go with? Um, and I also too think I was like, you know what? I also think another reason I was like, I haven't really heard, but I think it's also, and don't get me wrong, I was like, I've even heard some people from that, but the Heat people as it is, I think also it was them as well. That if it was like maybe somebody another squad or whatever, it'd be a little less of hurt. But if you look at people who scored a lot of points, I think Corey Brewer scored like 50 or 60 points in a game one time, and I was like, he couldn't score worth a lick, but I was like, I was like, that just sort of happened. He was on the heater. It's not like the 3 and some change quarter. Like people want to say like, oh, look at them. They're up by 20 with like 7 minutes ago. And it's like, yeah, but they were pretty much like tight all the way up through that fourth quarter. And then they started getting, then it did start getting out of hand. But by then at that point, yeah, you try to see how much you're going to score for or whatever. And I was like, I seen somebody talk about like, oh, it was like I think when like Kobe had like 60 or 70 or whatever, that they were like, oh, Kobe just like took himself out of the game. I'll do it another time. There's no point. We're already up or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But you can't tell me that also the guy that was like on this last game and wanted to chuck up to make 61 points, isn't also somebody that's like, nah. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and beat the record. If you're once you hit that level of like being an 80 and you still got like basically like a quarter and a half to go. I mean a quarter to a half quarter to go. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I was like, etch your name in the history books. Go ahead and score. I'm like, guess what? After this, everybody will forget about it once it goes to the playoffs. The only time it will be brought back is if the Heat either lose in the play-in or something like that, or Bam gets dunked on or something like that. Everybody be like, "That's the Kobe karma" or whatever. And I was like, "That's all it would be." But this is really what this is. If the third place person was like Ryan Anderson. Y'all remember him? If it was somebody like that, y'all be like, yeah, I hope Bam breaks that because that other guy don't deserve to be up in there wearing the greatness. But this is Kobe, who I was like, which Kobe stand is probably just as bad as MJ fans of like putting their person on such a high pedestal. And I was like, and everything like that, the mama mentality and all this other stuff. That guess what? There was really no way about it. Also, add that in, I think, with the internet. I was like, look, I'm not saying that if this would have happened 8 years ago, that he wouldn't, that nobody would say anything. But I do think that I'm like, the internet adds more fuel to it, where it's like you get to the outrage quickly. Now, like I said, we got real people actually talking about it, so that is a difference with this whole thing. But also, he's doing it in an age where everybody shoots threes, and he didn't do really, and like really didn't shoot enough threes in order to make it a whole thing. Because I like, to be honest, that's how I would think that somebody would eventually be able to break this anyway. Would be somebody had that like a crazy heater of shooting threes. I was like, you could run it up, you could do it really fast, and all the other stuff, and it opens up everything else. Nah, he did it all with that and free throws. And my thing is that I was like, I'm not saying there can be if there's not any nuance in the stuff, but for everybody that complained that we're shooting too many threes, people don't do any mid range anymore. Nobody wants to go to the hole in the same way, or it's like, and it's like, and outside of SGA and maybe Jalen Brunson, some of them like people that get the foul bait attached to them. I'm like, I was like, why would this not all be champion of like in this day and age? Look at the guy who decides to take it all the way to the hole, do it the hard way. I was like, the energy he's expending by going to the basket all the time and stuff like that, whether he getting foul or not. Like, come on, man. I think I was like, it just had a lot more to do about nothing to where you can't give him his credit at all. Like you guys, like I said, you guys really want that they would tend to foul him or whatever like that. But it's basically like, and we let this garbage player be above Kobe. Can't have that. What? Like you just find it. Y'all just want any way to destroy Kobe and get him out your memory. It's like nobody is allowing that at all. There's too many of y'all in order for that to happen. Anyway, congrats to Bam for scoring 83. Because guess what? It's going to be a while for it to happen. I don't think anybody's going to hit the 100 points thing or whatever. I was like, you could try to say, "Bam, that's not my player," all you want to, but guess what? He got the record, and in several years, you better hope that somebody else comes and breaks it, so that y'all can find another way to basically say that didn't count either. Kobe is still the originator of the high point game. And guess what? Nobody really cared about any of that stuff before. Remember, I was like, you remember when everybody was scoring 70? Like, like Luca, Donovan Mitchell, like back to back to back to back to back to back. You remember all those games? I was like, you don't think that none of them was like, yo, could I get 10 more points? Could I get 11 more points? But y'all don't really remember those games or enough to say nothing about those games or anything, or nobody locked in like that, did you? No, you really didn't. Anyway, seemed like it's just a bored week for everybody. I was like a great accomplishment that everybody wants to poo poo on. But anyway, that's all I had to say. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.